I like those.
I'd like to call this meeting to order of the joint DPW Subcommittee and Town Council, Wednesday, August 11th, 2021, at 7 p.m. Roll call. Councilor Steves.
Present.
Citizen Member Lazo.
Present.
Councilor Dow. He said he was going to be here. I haven't seen him yet. And Councilor Marquetti is here. Consider and approve joint DPW Town Council meeting minutes of June 23rd, 2021. Has everybody had a chance to look at it?
Sure.
Are there any corrections?
Okay, conflict. I think I did last.
Joseph
Just for
Dow.
the record,
Hey, you
Councilor
wanna sit down?
Dow is
Yeah.
here.
You got it?
Yeah, I love Billy.
Top industry.
So we're on agenda item number 2.
Like in carrot?
Reading of
Yeah.
minutes.
Start earlier.
So if no one has any
Okay,
corrections,
thank you.
all those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented?
Abstain.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
3-0.
301, sorry. I have Citizens Forum, agenda item number 4. If anybody in the audience, citizen wants to say anything, please speak up. Mr. Spring.
Mr. Chairman, through you to Heather, Heather, two things. The guys are doing a great job with weed whacking the curbings in our town, but can we get them to at least blow the curbings? That they're weed whacking into the roads and put up some sort of signage when they're doing it. It's very dangerous on the motorcycle. The other thing is the gas project that's going on, Cool Street, Sister Street, Roger Street. I don't know if you've been by there lately. Almost like my bike down. There are so many stones, asphalt pebbles. The road's horrible as far as debris in the road. They're not sweeping it, they're not cleaning it. It's a safety hazard.
I just came up Main Street and noticed there was a lot on Main Street.
Yeah, and I think the plates that go across Main Street, I think they should have to put a sign
Yeah,
further
they
down towards the road and saying they're up place. I mean, this time of year with motorcycles, it's dangerous.
Unfortunately, that is partially on the police. They need to tell them because they're the ones that are out there as traffic duty, not me. So we have traffic duty concerns. So I will express that to the police because they're the ones dealing with them on a daily basis. I don't do oversight of their projects. So I can express it to my contacts at National Grid, but
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, once you drive Cool Street, you'll see it. I mean, the stones and asphalt pebbles are just everywhere.
Yep.
Thank you.
You all set? All right, thank you. Mr. Julian.
Council, I can through you now. The new entryway into Marcy Street by Walgreens, what's the reasoning for that to be closed up so much?
I believe it was for handicap access ramps.
So the handicap access ramps go out into Marcy Street, narrowing the road to where you go to take a right off of Main Street onto Marcy, you're actually in the opposite lane of traffic.
Yeah.
I'll speak to the designer, but it was, I'm sure that's why it was.
The other thing is the walk lights. Are they been synced with the red lights yet?
Yes.
Because
They're operating, as far, I haven't field checked them, but we reviewed the plans. They aren't, there isn't any designated walk. Previously, we had designated walk, basically, everybody walked at the same time and there was all red lights. That is not how they're functioning anymore, and the reason for doing that is that actually is almost like a whole nother signal.
yeah,
And we, to speed up traffic, because that was the goal of the traffic light study, was to speed up traffic, we took that away. So you walk in parallel, just like every other place in the whole country. When there's a red light, you walk, you walk with traffic. And we haven't field verified them, but there is not, if it's a green light and you're going across Main Street, you obviously have the right. If you're turning, you're supposed to give to the pedestrians in the crosswalk.
okay. I was at the light the other day, and the light for Marcy Street was green, and the walk light was going for them. A girl walked across me, going across Main Street. The person coming out of Marcy Street just about took her out.
Because they
Like,
turned.
I laid on the horn because I was nervous that she was gonna get hit. And that car locked up the brakes to let her go. It's a dangerous situation.
So, was she walking with, like,
She was walking with the walk light, because I looked to make sure the walk light was on.
right, no, but was she walking, so the main street was green and they tried to turn?
Main Street was red, Marcy Street was green. The girl walked across me on Main Street. The person coming off of Marcy in front of the old Wells School tried to make a left on the main and almost took her out. It's a dangerous situation.
It's
Exactly.
education of the drivers, really, and what we are going to do is probably put some signs up that say yield to pedestrians and crosswalks, and, you know, during turning, you type of thing,
Thank you.
but if we go back, your traffic will return, because it does delay your traffic that much.
I honestly don't see the traffic easing up when you're
I
coming
do.
down Main Street.
I totally do, but
I understand the traffic studies and all that, I
They don't
understand
get the
that.
ratings.
The other thing I have is,
Saw the ones you-
all-in-one drain cleaning did a job on Main Street the other day, well, the past week. And during their construction, they weren't there for a couple days and they had the sidewalk blocked, but there was like no signs. It was just the cones with the rails. Now they're done with their job, well, they're not done yet. The sidewalk is still open. There's no markings or anything to tell pedestrians there's a step. It's like a 4-inch step. Somebody's gonna trip or fall, or it's a hazard. And then the other guys working on Main Street, if they could put cones, they got pieces of curbing on the sidewalk with no cones, no barrels sitting next to them. Just, I mean, at nighttime, half the lights aren't on Main Street sometimes. And it's kind of a hazard. A lot of places, they do have
Hold on.
barrels and cones though. I will give you that.
so,
I saw, all right.
is
I'm
that
gonna
Goddard Street where the?
No, the one-way part of Chapin Street, right on the corner in
Okay.
front of, was it Volume Hair? There's pieces there. There's some pieces just down by where H&R Block is. And one of the sidewalk openings isn't marked either. I don't remember which one it was. I went down Main Street today just to look again. But there's just a couple spots that need to be marked.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna let Counselor Steves go first, he had his hand up.
Oh, I just wanted to point out that to agree with what Derek was just saying, I saw, when that happened to us crossing the crosswalk, we were crossing Elm Street and somebody taking a left nearly took us out. It was green light, they did have the green light and we had the crosswalk light. It's also really short, it gives you like 7 seconds.
7
I did it
seconds.
the other day.
7 seconds is the timing of a normal crosswalk. And it's, so you have a certain, and I will send you what the guidance and the timing is. When it starts blinking at you, you still walk.
Oh, I know that. I
Yeah,
know
so you
that.
have like 3 seconds when it goes white and then another 7 seconds.
All right, well, we're gonna discuss Main Street tonight.
Yeah.
It's on the agenda, but if you wanted to say something,
I just, while it's on the blinking lights, I understand you have to wait till everything's done and coordinated. I left the meeting Monday night and I was going down to the light to take a right from Elm Street, and I stopped and I saw the little person light up to walk, and then the green light came on at the same time.
Exactly.
So I'm like, in other words, you say driver education, am I supposed to sit and know that? If they're getting the walk across Main Street, I'm getting to go.
Your go is to go to Elm Street, it's not to take the turn. The go is, yes, you're getting a go, but just like any other turn, if you were turning in any other city, you have to yield to that pedestrian that's in that crosswalk.
Oh, I did, I mean,
Right.
I got confused because I saw red, green light go, and I saw the little white person, the little later person.
So you should be
And I just hit the
yielding to
brakes
that
looking for
pedestrian.
somebody, but there was nobody there to push the button.
Well, that's right.
all right.
That could have been somebody that pushed a button and walked,
Oh.
because they do that
I
stuff.
didn't see anybody, but.
Counselor Catrona, did you want to say something?
Just number 9 is discussion of Main Streets.
All
I
right,
think
okay.
we're completely off topic.
No, that's fine, this is Citizens Forum. Ms. Doyle?
This doesn't have anything to do with Main Street. Well, actually it does, but it doesn't have to do with Lincoln. Anyway, I'm just curious what all the things are on the light, I don't know what you call it, arm? There's like,
The camera.
are they cameras? And there's like a long one that almost looks like a shower head kind of thing.
I don't know what that
see
one.
that one.
I think that's the
Silver
one.
one?
The ambulance one?
It's on Marcy Street. That's for the ambulance that changed the lights.
Okay.
I believe that's what that
I was like, I just don't know what all these things are.
They're not cameras that are recording, they're cameras to say how long the traffic delay
Thank
is.
you for saying that. 'cause
They
I
don't
was like,
record
oh,
anything.
Big word.
3 feet.
Maybe they should, though.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on then, unless anybody has anything else.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on. Oh, Counselor Dow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. So Councilor Lazo and Mr. Dave, I think they're trying to make a point when the person cross and press the button to both light turn red. That's what you guys want. Mercy.
That's not what I want, I just want to understand what they're doing, I
It
don't
used to
know
be
what.
when all of the lights on Main Street, there was dedicated walk signals,
Yeah.
which delayed traffic, which is one of the things that delayed traffic. So basically, all of the places could walk at the same time.
But that, what's
That is not
happening
how
now?
it is now. Now you, if you're walking up Main Street and Main Street has a green light, you walk across Marcy Street, or you walk across Elm Street. That's when you'll get the light to
So
walk.
is that safety to be considered a future like this to avoid somebody get hurt or something?
It can be considered to go back to the other way. It will delay traffic and
We
you
can-
will have the same traffic situations again.
Well, I mean,
But
probably
I
you
will
wanna.
also tell you that this is how Boston walks,
No, no, I
this is
know,
how
but
Worcester
probably-
walks, this is how everywhere else walks like this. We had a really weird situation that we decided we wanted to walk like this. So let's give it a chance. Let's do some education. Everybody's used to just turning and being okay. We'll put some more signs out there to say, while turning, yield to pedestrians and crosswalks, more education. But I think it's an education thing. I don't want to hurt anybody, and that's not what I intend. But everywhere else in the whole country, a lot of places, this is how they function.
I think the best solution is put the sign. That's it. I think that would.
We'll do some signs, we'll do more monitoring, we'll watch, we can,
There's still a right turn on red though, unless it's unless it's marked.
yes.
Right.
All right,
But you still have to yield to pedestrians.
Right, always.
I mean, the rule is yield to pedestrians in the crosswalk, even if they're walking and they don't have the walk sign. It's always yield to pedestrians in the crosswalk, so we all have to be, that's the education that needs to be.
Because we got our licenses.
Yield to pedestrians in the crosswalk, no matter, and I know they walk out of turn, trust me, I know that just as much as everybody else. Some days I'd like to,
Called jaywalking.
yeah, but, I want my ticket book, but let's try to educate the public. And it is an education campaign.
all right, let's move on to agenda item number 5. Review, discuss the citizen request of Stephen Lazo to serve as citizen member of the Department of Public Works Subcommittee effective immediately through July 30th, 2022 on completion of the state ethics training. Entertain a motion to vote to recommend to council for confirmation.
Motion move.
Second.
Any comments, Mr.?
I just want to say, I want to thank the councilors for reappointing me to the subcommittee that I've been on for many, many years. Thank you.
Well, thank you for volunteering your time. Anybody else?
I wanna
All those in favor? Oh, you want to say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
thank you, Mr. Chair, to you. Thank you for volunteering and being, spend time of your time here and coming to the meeting all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, councilor.
Councilor
And
Stevens.
yeah, I know that I've learned stuff from being with you on the subcommittee. You talk a lot about the construction stuff that I know nothing about, so you're definitely an addition. It's beneficial.
Thanks, Gus.
All right, well, just for the record, the motion was made by Councilor Dow and second by Councilor Stevens. All those in favor of accepting his nomination? Unanimous.
I'm going to abstain from that.
All right,
I don't know if there's a conflict there, so I
I
wouldn't
don't
do
think
that.
there is, that's fine.
Just in
Councilor,
case. Just in case.
Citizen Member Lazo abstained.
Oh, yeah. You never know.
Agenda item number 6, review, discuss the citizen request of Kevin Splain to serve as citizen member of the Department of Public Works Subcommittee effective immediately through July 31st, 2022, upon completion of the state ethics training. Entertain a motion to vote to recommend to
moved.
council for confirmation. Motion made by citizen members Lazo, seconded by Councilor Stevens. Mr. Splain, would you like to say anything?
I just want to thank everybody for considering me for this committee.
thank you for volunteering.
Same thing. Thank you for stopping in and volunteer. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Counselor Steves, anything?
I just want to say, I know Kevin very well, and he's very up on things, landscaping and trees and stuff like that, and he'll be a plus for this subcommittee, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
That's good, yep, thank you. All right, no other comments, then we'll take
Mr. Chair,
Oh,
just real quick, I just want to thank both gentlemen. It's good to see fresh face in here too as well sometimes, and it's a breath of fresh air sometimes with that. And Steve for everything that he
I
does.
mean,
brother.
we see his
So
face
thank you.
around. Not
Not a good looking face, but a fresh face.
nice.
I want to see that in a minute.
That's what I'm saying.
He's on tape.
And on video.
Yeah, it's on TV, yeah, slander and landscaping.
I know.
Since no other comments, we'll have a vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item number 7, review, discuss the contract extension for FY 2022 with Reno HVAC and Controls Incorporated for the HVAC system and control maintenance in accordance with the contract documents. This contract extension is effective as of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. Entertain a motion to vote to recommend that council ratify the extension agreement. Could I have a
Motion
motion,
moved.
please?
Second.
Motion by Councilor Dow, second by Citizen Member Lazo. Heather?
This is the extension to our maintenance contract for HVAC for our town buildings. We did this out last year, awarded it for a year with the ability to extend for 2 additional years individually. It is, the increase was already predetermined in the original contract. It was a 3% increase, so it went from 29,000 something to 30,000 something. We don't really have any other options here. I know at times we have discussed potentially the combination of the school and the town, but at this point we don't have that as an option. So the total was last year 29,225. This year is 30,101.
Thank you. Councilor Steves?
I remember we talked about having a concern about them not doing some maintenance in the library HVAC systems. I remember we raised that back at a subcommittee, I don't know, 6 months ago?
I was never made aware of it, so I never was able to check on it.
No. Okay. I remember we talked about it, we were concerned about that. And so how much maintenance have they actually done?
They
What
do
did they
a
work?
spring maintenance and like a winter maintenance on the winter equipment, like start up right before winter, and a summer maintenance on the summer equipment right up before summer. That's all they do, it's twice a year.
Oh, okay.
You all set?
I guess so.
Councilor Catrona?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, I'm looking, but I can't find the backup documentation. I don't have it with me tonight, but last night at P&D, one of the subjects was to spend down a fund, and I believe there was an HVAC contract in there that the council, the subcommittee spoke about, and we spent down some money. I don't have my
Now, that
documents.
was for the Green Communities Grant, and it was
Yeah.
for upgrade of the boiler system here, that we use Green Communities, and that replaced the boiler here. That was a couple-year project. We did that, and then we did controls work. Totally different, that's new equipment, not maintenance.
Okay. For that kind of money, as was spoken earlier, do they just do belts and filters? And grease?
Basically, and that cleaning, filters, belts, they clean the boilers, any new boiler units. It's very basic maintenance.
And we have no one in-house?
We have no one in-house. Not on
So-
DPW side.
But we still have employees of the town, correct?
We have
That-
employees at the town that do not have enough time to do this and attach to what they already have.
I don't understand that. As an HVAC tech myself, it's not to go change filters and belts. It's not complicated. I don't understand why we can't take this task on ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Councilor Dow?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for you. Heather, if we hire a private contract to do that, to
This is a
clean
private
and- You know, but you're paying him no matter what, the 30 grand. You're giving him the 30 grand just to do those couple of things. So if we got a
If we hired
company
an employee,
to price it twice a year, it wouldn't be cheaper? Because they're not doing anything except what you're saying.
no, it wouldn't be, I mean, it's.
Did you try?
That's why we have to go out to bid. I can't hire individually to go do that. That goes out to bid for the whole town, and it, because of the pricing on it, that's kind of how we have to do it.
I know, but.
I can't go individually by building, by building, by building. It's called, that's segregating the bid, and I can't do that because we're looking for this ongoing maintenance. It's bidding rules of how we have to bid this. So it went out to bid
When?
last year, and 2 companies bid on it. This was the cheaper company.
But this is a renewal. Did you do it this year too?
No,
Why you came up to us and say this is, we don't have another choice? Like,
Because-
it's always last minute, no other choice.
well, I don't have another, we would have to go out to bid again. It would have to be a full rebid.
Why wouldn't try earlier? Now, I mean, I don't know how much time you left with that
It's a
company.
lot of time and energy on my part to go out to bid. I mean, for an increase of $1,000, it's gonna take more of my time than that, and my staff's time.
But your staff, isn't it on
Salary, but we
on a-
have lots of, I mean, I'm running major construction projects. I don't have really time
No, I
to,
understand,
to go
but
out to
still,
bid, but-
that's a citizen money, tax money, you know, people paying for that. I mean, we still have to look for them, not just because I have too many project, I'm gonna avoid.
I do not think we're going to get a better price. So, if you want, if the councils would rather me go out to rebid for it, I will go out and rebid for it,
I mean,
but.
isn't it, that's the rule every year?
No, it isn't at the rule. You have the ability to extend these contracts. That's why we put it in there, so that it's not as onerous and there's some benefit there. If we were really disappointed in them that they didn't do something, we don't have to use them again. That's why we do it this way. But there, you know, it's we have the ability to extend to have a 3-year contract with them with renewals.
But
And
you have-
that's the way it was bid.
Did they give you a record every year,
Yep.
what unit and everything was done?
Yep.
You have a list of all the buildings?
For
need
my
to be-
buildings, I do. I do not have it, every individual building gets their own records.
So, you the one hired
I
this
just
company?
administer the contract.
Correct, but isn't it, you should be reviewing if they're doing every building the right way?
It's-
Maybe they're not doing it, they just send you a invoice, you're not doing it, I mean,
It would be up to that building person to come to me and say they weren't doing it the right way. So Margaret did not contact me and say that.
example, like the police station, the unit on the top, the one the fan broke and destroyed the whole thing, that if was done correctly and cleaned the back of it, that wouldn't happen.
That was more than 1 year's neglect on that.
Thank you.
All right, before I go back to you, Councilor Catrona, did you have a question?
I
I'll go
just
to
had
you
one thing to
first,
say, yeah.
and then you, and then I'll come back, okay?
I was just gonna ask the same thing that this Council Dow said. Council Steves was commenting on the library being neglected. Is there a sign-in sheet and, you know,
Yes.
a list of what they did? And if they, can you go back and look at that and see if they did do it and what date it was? And you know,
I can request that from them, and I can request that from Margaret. They give a copy to Margaret whenever they're there.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gilliam. Councilor Jovan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you to Heather, just on the bidding process. I appreciate the comments from the previous speakers as to maybe going out to bid and getting a cost. However, there's a 3% increase this year, which is roughly $1,000. If we were to go out to bid and Reno or the other companies rebid it, and they came in, say, $5,000 more because of economics and everything else, we would not be able to go back to this existing bid. Is that correct?
That is correct. As soon as we go back out to rebid, this bid is thrown out, and we would have to use the new numbers.
Correct. So we could be chasing, given the economics, everything, we know the cost and all that. I think it's prudent to take a 3% increase this year and continue to work as a council to its whatever solutions we have for in-house. This year, we had a lot of things on the table last year when we had this, and to pursue that option as to in-house talent. But for the cost of the year, I would recommend that we stay prudent and continue with this contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Counselor, I'll go to Counselor Catrona first.
Thank you, Mr. Lazo. Council, Mr. Chairman. To what the previous speaker just spoke about, I was going to say a lot of the same things. I think it's something the council should take a look at because we have qualified staff in-house that work for the town. Heather, approximately how many units? Are we talking about rooftops primarily? Units? Are we talking about?
We just count buildings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 buildings.
Okay, so not much equipment, probably a couple days' work if somebody was
It's
to go up there.
my building itself will take a week. It's how many units we have. When they come to clean my boilers, it takes them a week.
To clean the boilers, I was talking about rooftops.
Well,
Do
but
they
that's
punch
only
the-
half of
Okay, if they
it.
do the boilers, do they punch the tubes? What do they do?
Yes, they punch the tube, they clean the tubes, they clean all the boilers.
Okay. Just again, to what the previous speaker, maybe it's something the council can look at this year is pulling this work in-house. We have qualified staff that is employed by the town of Southbridge, is paid by the town of Southbridge, but the two departments, for some reason, can't seem to.
I've been told
always
that
work
department does
together.
not have the capacity to do this.
Okay. I'll leave it there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Counselor Lazo.
Councilor Jovian brings out the procurement, the bidding, and how it works, and, you know, when we're in a 3-year contract, we have the ability to renew, it's 3%. This did go out to bid, and this is the gentleman that won the bid. My problem isn't with the bidding or whether the 3% is too much. I'm worried about the accountability and oversight of the service when you put it upon somebody like the librarian or the library director, when how it works in the school system, and by the way, they're town employees, but they don't work for the town of Southbridge, they work for the school department. They're not going to work on your side of the line with what they have to do on their side of the line, and this has been gone back
Years.
2 decades, okay? And we can argue that point.
Right.
I'm not a fan of consolidation. I think that don't touch it, it's not broke. My thing is, Heather, in DPW, if we are a maintenance type department, we maintain roads, we maintain a lot of stuff, and I know back in the day they tried to get a building maintenance. That's why Luke was hired for his license to do small projects on downside. Then they were going to try and mirror the school system with a plumber, an electrician, and an HVAC. I was involved with school committee when we created a lot of that because the money we were spending was much more than a salary line. It was almost 5 times the amount of salary line of an electrician. My thing is, if there's service records, shouldn't the service records go to DPW instead of go to a librarian? I mean, with all due respect to a librarian or an elderly center, I really don't think they understand why those people are even there.
I understand what you're saying, but she likes to maintain her own building and she keeps her own records. She does a very good job keeping records. She's very, very thorough. I do not have enough staff to go around and mirror and check on that they did exactly what they were doing. You know what I mean? Like, I can't oversee them being there. So yes, there is a trust level and they do get reports. Now, I have no problem. This is the first time I ever heard that Margaret was concerned that they didn't do their maintenance. So I will reach out. It could be that she was just not there that day and she didn't get the reporting of it.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
was a while ago we
possibility.
were talking about, I don't remember exactly
But,
what the details were.
But Heather, usually, and I'm speaking from school side, I spent some time on school committee. Mike Como, okay, has a computer.
He's a facility
And is
manager.
scheduled. This is scheduled prior to doing these jobs.
We know when they're here. They come
Right.
and tell us that they're here and they're
But
coming.
if
so.
you can get on a computer and pull up data, town hall was serviced on October 1st for this and this and that, you have a database that it's just a rotation of it. It's not like it's gonna take all the staff to figure out, it would take staff to do it, to do the servicing. That's not what I'm asking.
No.
If we hire this with a 3%, I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem is, and I do remember what you're talking about, Gus, we had a major breakdown and they said they weren't servicing it. So then right away council turned around and, well, how come it wasn't serviced? And then down the police station went, like Joe said, and it was basically neglect. Well, when that's happening, there seems to be no accountability or
Well, I mean, it was
oversight.
also over 20-some years old, and I know
No,
that.
and I understand age. What I'm saying, I've been living in my house for 30-something years with central air conditioning, and I have it serviced annually, and I've been here 35 years, and I still have that 35-year-old condenser unit and the coolant in the boiler. So, and the boiler's original. But I'm one of these service guys, you know, I want annually, you do your boiler before winter, because it only breaks down in winter, it doesn't break down in summer. So, to the point of accountability in a department is the data of when it's serviced. Once it's set up, it doesn't take a lot of people to do this. Mike Como really, it's like a no-brainer for him. It's like, okay, we did that, okay, we did that. Because once the database is done.
And if you look back at the study that was done and the DPW and what is needed to be done there, the number one thing they said in that study is that we need a facilities manager. And that was over 3 or 4 years ago. And we don't have that. There is nobody playing that role in my department. I would appreciate one because there are so many building things that go on, and it's a lot of tracking, and it is a lot of that. But I do not have a facilities manager. I have a building maintenance craftsman who is not a facilities manager.
Yeah, I understand where that comes from because they visited that years ago.
right.
And I think I'm all set. I just wanted to
All right, thank
bring
you.
that forward. Thank you.
Councilor Adams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just gonna throw in there, you know, we're setting up the goals and objectives for the town manager very soon, for this fiscal year. And something that we've already discussed multiple times, something when I came on the council, was those studies. Talked extensively with Heather over and over again. And this is something that I think is adamant that we need to take a look. Now, it's not gonna be completed, you know, town manager's not gonna have everything nice and tidy in a year, but that's something that we have to take a look at. Priorities for the staffing. Maybe you working together between the two entities somehow. I know they already do. I do think it's broken because we have facilities issues that cost millions of dollars right now that have never been really, they've been addressed, but not like the roads being addressed. So I think that's something that who's ever assigned that volunteers for the goals and objectives, that's something you take a look at so we can take a serious look at these studies, and some of them we can throw away, some we can use or don't change or change everything. But we got to be an honest broker. We paid for these, taxpayers paid for like 3 studies, and we need to take a look at it, not to get off the agenda item. But again, what Councilor Petrona, Councilor Lazo, Councilor Joe, everybody's been talking about this, and I think we're missing something here in the town.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have anything else? No? The only thing I'd like to say is if we could see the contract before the town council meeting. You talked about the contract, I don't see it here. I don't know.
It's the same contract as previous, this is just a renewal of the existing.
All right. Okay, I must have it somewhere then.
I can try to get it to her. So please. Yeah, I can give her a copy of it, that's not a problem. I know
Alright.
it's the same exact contract, it's just a renewal of the existing one.
Okay, with an increase, all right. Well, if you could get that, I'd appreciate it. We'll have a vote then. All those in favor of accepting this? All those opposed?
I'm not opposed to it. I'm for it.
Your favor? Okay.
Yep.
All right. The motion is 3-1 with Councilor Dow opposed. All right, agenda item number 8, review, discuss Ludlow Construction Company negative change order number 4, in which a balance of existing pay items is a reduction of $447,290.48 for the water main extension for Berry Corner Road, H-Foot Road, and Eleanor Lane Charlton project. Entertain a motion to vote to recommend to council for ratification.
Motion moved.
Second.
Just try to $477,000.
477,200.
447.
All right, I'll say it again, $477,290.48. That's a negative. Councilor Dow made the motion. System member Lazo, seconded.
Is it 48 cents or 58 cents? The documentation says 58 cents, the agenda says
That's what the documentation says.
48. So
All right,
it's 58 cents.
okay.
Note on that.
All right, Heather?
So this is what we would call the end balancing change, last change order for the contract. We're trying to balance out the contract. Sometimes we do this and sometimes we don't, but on this one, I really do think it was important that we did it because obviously we had money that came from two different sources. Part of it was funded by Kinsella and part of it was funded by Mass DEP. So they will be looking for this final closeout documents that we're doing at this time. This project's done, sealed, completed. The values that are in the contract when they bid are always estimated values. They're not actual values, and now this reflects the actual values of what was installed and what was done at the time, what was done on the project. So this is your balancing change order to bring it to this negative amount to give you your final amount of the contract.
All right. Are there any questions? Counselor Dow?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, to you. So where's that money going?
That money is never existed. So we never had that money.
No.
That money was just on paper. So you don't get to spend it because it's not our money. Nice try. So any money, so basically Mass DEP had put $5 million up and the other money for whatever, so originally was up to a $10 million project. Obviously the contract documents were never even got that high. Mass DEP set aside $5 million and would pay basically their half of the bill, and then the other potentially $5 million was going to be borrowed by us, but we haven't borrowed the full amount. We only borrowed certain up to the half. So the money.
Clarify, it's borrowed by us.
The
but
town
sells
only given
handouts.
1,566,736.
No, they're giving half of the final contract value.
Oh, so they're not giving that $5 million, we're putting the difference, so it's gonna be half of it?
Yes.
Okay.
3.3.
Okay,
The rest of the money goes back to Mass DEP.
thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? None? All right, just for clarification, the total is $477,290.58. That's what we're voting.
Yes.
It's a negative change order, okay?
And
All
we're
those in
paying
favor?
less for the project, which is a good thing.
So all those in favor? Opposed? None? Unanimous. Okay, agenda item number 9, upgrades on road improvement work, crack seal, fog seal, microsurface, mill, and overlay. Why don't we take it one at a time? I don't know why she put it all in one agenda, but,
Because it's just disgusting.
all right, well then I'll read the rest of it. Main Street project and further discussion of Hudson Avenue, Ellis Road, deteriorating road conditions.
I do need to go with the chair now, sorry.
Can't function without the other person.
Can I go backwards?
Sure. Yep.
Hudson Ave and Ellis Road. We will be able to do some maintenance with grindings on those roads, but doing any additional paving, we're not included in our paving projects. Both, let me back up. So the Lazo side of Ellis, I don't even know how to even describe it anymore.
36.
We will put more grindings up there as we've done maintenance-wise in the past couple of years, because we obviously have nice fresh new grindings from some of our own projects. So we'll be able to put them up there as some of my staff gets freed up in the next, hopefully, couple weeks, to be able to go up there and spend a couple days spreading out some grindings and hammering them in, which will help tremendously. Do you want to interrupt me now?
Nope, I'm just putting my hand up so that he knows.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I was just notified that I was
All
gonna
right.
go.
I wasn't on the
I'll
outside.
go
We're gonna do this
check it out.
communication.
And then on the other half of Ellis Road, we already have some planned patchwork to try to help the other side in some areas that had severely deteriorated, that we can patch there and get some patches and extend that life until we can do something further, more long-term. We'll do the same thing at the end of Hudson Ave. You know, it's not in the paving part, but we can do some stuff with grindings and everything there to extend that the same way. Fog sealing. No, crack ceiling.
I got you, hold on.
Do you want to do that now? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Why don't you go right now?
Before we do any millings or anything on Ellis Road, are we gonna address any of the drainage issues up there?
No.
I got you.
When we go up and do work on Ellis Road, we will address drainage, we will clean drainage swales as much as we can. I can't do major drainage work up there because I don't have the money.
I understand that, there's
We
some
can-
drainage issues that need to be attended
Yeah.
to before we put millings up.
Yeah,
That's all.
I mean, if it means that they need to clean the road edges or anything there, they will do that.
Okay.
I hope they'll do that.
I hope so, too.
they're smart enough to do that.
Okay. Citizenmember Lazo had a question.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Heather. Heather, while we're in the neighborhood of Ellis Road, what happened to the money for the Gulfwood Road repair that was supposed to go from Torrey to the end? We did appropriate money there,
No, we
didn't we? I thought you had it put aside.
No, we had planned to appropriate money and then council decided that they wanted to prioritize these other roads. So we
Because I remember it go through the subcommittee, I thought we had.
We had
you said
talked
that.
about a plan
Yeah.
that we had a few years ago, and that was one of the roads on the plan, and now it got re-planned with changing of the guard, and it got delayed, because there's no money, there's no Chapter 90 money, and the pavement management study isn't dictating that that road be one of the priorities at this point yet.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Councilor
Mr.
Lazo.
Chairman.
Wow. Okay, I just like to clear the air on Ellis Road, Lazo's side. Everybody has a mythical story to tell about Ellis Road. If I'm gonna go back and do a little history on Ellis Road was a town accepted road. The Board of Selectmen voted to abandon Ellis Road. And the vote was on record at the clerk's office. But what happened was the town never went to the county commissioners and never followed through with the abandonment proceedings. So, going back to Jack Howley, the town manager, he researched it when there was a DPW director, Stein. And when they found out that it was still a town accepted road because it was never abandoned properly, they went on to the Ellis Road and went to the residents on the low end of the road and bought easements to the back of their property all the way down. They signed easements. They didn't buy them. They signed them because the town told them they're going to put drainage on the high side of the road. So they did the high side of the road with drainage. You'll notice there's culverts going down to the other end. Then they topped it, okay? I forget what they used, but we had an asphalt road when they were done. Now, if we go back to the families of Kodraki, Gould, and the Paquins, they took the town to court and wanted to prove that it's a town accepted road. So they went all the way to the date that they were going to go into the courtroom, and the town attorney told the town, it's a town accepted road, you're going to lose this case. So they said, in your best interest, come up with an agreement between the residents on the road and the town. The original agreement, which I have on file, was Mr. Kodraki and all the families, only like 5 that were on the road at the time, I think, 5 or 6. And they all agreed that the town was going to maintain a gravel base, they were going to plow snow, and they were going to maintain vegetation, and that was basically the agreement between these residents and them. In the meantime, other families, we all went up there, we started buying lots, and we got building permits, and we built on Ellis Road. And then the more it got, like your mailbox was at Gulfwood Road. You did not have mailboxes. When Howley and Stein ended up doing this, they brought the mailboxes on, the mail was on the street, it's still mailboxes on the street. Now normally the federal government does not put mailboxes on something that's not accepted, they usually deliver it to the end. That was their thing. So it was basically, I thought, ironed out, and they did a tremendous amount of work to the road at the time. But DPW directors changed, and so those town managers, the only people that continue to stay here are guys like me. And then when you know the history, you look and you say, they're being honest. They think it's an abandoned road. Why would you get building permits? Why would you build there? And when you get the history, it never was abandoned properly. They just voted it, never followed through. So, if I go get a lawyer and I plug that documentation in, you will be a town accepted road. Do I want to go fight the town? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I drive pickup trucks. I feel bad for the one with the Mercedes and, you know, with their front ends. I drive trucks. So that's just a little background on Ellis Road. If we want to, you know, discuss it further, we can discuss it. But the town has been very accommodating. When we call, they do go up and patch. They do go up and do a lot of stuff, the brush cutting and stuff like that. So, you know, when you talk about road programs, what's a road program? Drive up Gulfwood Road, that's not a priority? You can take that road study and I can tell you what you can do with it. Because Gulfwood Road, you know one thing I learned, Ella? Drive the road, skip the study.
I know, but you all bought in on a council
Hold on.
to,
Go ahead. One at a time.
I was under the impression
One at a time.
that money for Gulfwood Road was put aside.
That's what I was.
I didn't know it was flushed. I really didn't.
well, it was all just chapter 90 money. And at this point, all the chapter 90 money is designated with other projects. So until we accumulate more chapter 90 money or designate money from the pavement money that you set aside, which there is money, it's just, you guys have to decide, is that your priority? If it is your priority, I can't manufacture chapter 90 money, those projects
I
are
get
out.
that.
But if you want to go back and do Gulfwood Road, which it was on my priority list, I'm not saying it wasn't. It's just that we went back to, okay, we're gonna, you know, crack seal, we're gonna fog seal, we're gonna do preventative maintenance, we're gonna do a mill and overlay project. And that was, let's do this and get as many roads and the biggest bang for our buck that we can do. So that's what we implemented this year, which is that wasn't, it was a switch. I mean, I'm for this. It's not that I'm not, but there's lots of different ways we can look at it. Now, you set aside $10 million, up to $10 million. We didn't borrow all the $10 million. You can tell if next year your priority is, you know what, let's go back after this road, we will go out for design and start doing it again. Right now, what I've been doing for priority for designing of roads is trying to manage them with CDBG funds so that we can bundle that together. That's why you see West Street happen, you know, going. That's, you know, why we planned for Cross Street. We tried to pick other roads that we can marry. We can't do that with Gulfwood. Gulfwood isn't in a CDBG area. So I'm okay with it. We can't, and I know there's a lot of moving and shifting priorities, and I get that. If that's where we want to go and we want to direct funds there, that means right now, if it's going to happen next year, it's coming out of that $10 million. Which means, you know, and it's going to be $1 million project, which means you're not probably doing as many mill and overlays because we don't have a way to pay that back right now.
Yeah.
And again, Heather, when you prioritize, and again, I misunderstood completely. I'm out to lunch on the Gulfwood Road, you know, that I didn't want Gulfwood Road to do. I wanted to do these other things. I must have been sleeping at that meeting. But anyways, to bring it back around, when this council especially, because in the last 3-4 years, has made roads a priority and sidewalks, for me, it's like we drive on these certain roads and we know which ones they are. West Street was always in the wheelhouse of South Street and Main Street, long before, I thought before Gulfwood Road. But the thing is, when you drive on the roads and you look at what we're spending on patch paving and all the temporary solutions, and they're better than no solution. I'm not dissing that, but I look at it as common sense is, you know, drive down the road. What's the priority? The study doesn't show your front end falling off your vehicle. But in that case, you look at Gulfwood Road, I'd like to see somebody show me a road in Southbridge worse than Gulfwood Road. Never mind Ellis. Ellis is the worst road in Southbridge. And I'm not making a pitch for Ellis, I'm just saying.
All right, I'm gonna go with Councilor Jovan first.
Well, just through you, Mr. Chairman, to this committee, to sit here and say that we can drive the roads, I don't disagree with Council Lau. But over an entire year, we sat here as a council, discussed all the streets, and we talked about this one want to address the street, This one wanted this one. This one wanted. We gave the direction to Heather that this was what we wanted. Fog sealing, micro sealing, get the bang for the buck. If now this year we want to tackle additional roads. So to say that we all know when we drive the roads, I don't disagree. But we're the ones, as council, that gave direction to DPW to take this list of roads based on a pavement management study that was presented very thoroughly by the town manager. So let's this year figure out how we want to spend our money. Furthermore, as a council, maybe we should be advocating to our state legislatures, you got $2 billion extra in cash sitting there, yet you funded Chapter 90 at the same level for the last 10 years. So come on, guys. It's not the DPW's fault. We gave her direction. She's executing the plan. That's the plan we gave her. That's the plan that we as a council executed. Let's talk about where we're standing today and develop new goals as a DPW subcommittee for this coming year to say, how do we best bang our buck? But get out there and talk to legislators and say, we need more money. $1 trillion infrastructure bill. Let's start calling Congressman Nail and saying, hey, we got a $10 million backlog in the town of Southbridge, like every other town. We're not the only town that has bad roads. I was on Mass Pike today in the rest area and in the men's room, and I got guys going, hey, did you drive this road in West Springfield? Oh my God, I couldn't get here and here and here. It's not just the town of Southbridge, it's everywhere. So let's talk about what's on the agenda, the micro seal and all that. Ellis Road is a plan, let's move forward. Thank you.
Anybody,
Hold
can they
on.
get the most in the
Counselor
state?
Daniel, did you have your hand up?
I was just going to say that the direction is fluid, because as I recall, when we were talking about this last year, Heather mentioned Cross Street, and that rang a bell with me, because then we were also talking about River Street, it seems to me, and Crane, and there was some concern about a manufacturing facility in the area, and how we wanted to make sure that they felt welcome in town. You know, we're talking South Street, where we need to do work all the way from the town line down to the Westville entrance. There's a large number of streets that need work, and the question well, Council Lazo has said it before in the past, you're taking bites out of the elephant. I guess the question is you biting the hind quarter or the front quarter? You know,
Whichever is the worst, we should be biting.
Well, but, you know, whichever is the worst, a lot of people that travel up South Street would say that South Street's in rough shape, and that they're losing their front ends going up South Street toward Masher Park.
Not even close to Gulfport Road. Drive it.
But other people would say that. That's what I'm saying. The priorities are basically, do you like vanilla or chocolate? Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go with Counselor Dow first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. What's the procedure if you have all this document in the past for Ellis Road? Why you don't bring them in, and then we can see a solution for that too?
Because that's the Lazo side of the road, and I don't want to do
but
that.
it's the town manager and town.
The last time we brought it up, a councilor shot it down because I live on the road.
No, who's gonna work on that? The town manager and the council? That's their job to adopt that road? I mean, if it's all half the residents sign,
It's never been abandoned.
Never been banned.
so why not doing it legal? I mean, those people pay tax on the property, why not fixing that road the right way and move forward? Because I've been 1 year and I hear the same road in 1 year so far. The town issue, the camp, you know, why wouldn't
You
just
would
fix
need
it?
to look, the town manager would have to look at the legal agreement that was signed between the parties at that point, because that is what I'm governed under right now, and that's what I would say.
Okay.
And if it means that it would be a different priority, the problem is I can't accept the road as it is because it doesn't meet town accepted standards. So we can't go through back and meet it. I understand it's not abandoned, I just don't know what it is. It's in this quasi.
It's a town accepted road. I'll bring the documentation
Okay.
to read it. I mean, I don't expect anything
No,
else.
just make I think just make a copy and let's move forward the right way. Why we're gonna keep guessing and think we don't know, maybe why we don't, let him bring copy what he have.
I will tell you, the only thing it's not eligible for, in my eyes, is chapter 90. So you guys can fund to pave that road, go for it. You have money, you got $10 million.
So the town, he's allowed to go there and fix it and
Yeah,
pave it.
we already do.
So I'm not sure where the,
I don't care. I don't. I've been bullshitted by more people on that road.
now you're talking different language. Now, it doesn't matter if you live on it or not. If the residents live there and they pay tax, that road should be done the right way.
Let them
Okay,
do
we
it
got
then.
it, we got it. I'm gonna let somebody else ask a question now. Julian.
Council Daniel just brought up a point, River Street.
Yeah.
The part that gave way,
Yes.
I heard, is pretty much stabilized right now.
Yeah.
But I guess a little bit down further, it's giving away again.
No, we already restabilized it.
It's already restabilized? Okay,
You good?
thank you.
Just like-
Eventually we'll just all slide.
I just want to say one last thing before we move on. With all due respect, this DPW subcommittee had a list of priority roads.
Yeah.
And we presented it to you, and the town manager changed that list to all of these roads. We didn't tell them to do these particular roads, we asked them to do a priority of roads. I don't remember if Gulfwood was on that list, but they took this, our plan, and changed it into I can get more roads done for the same amount of money, and then the council voted that way, and I said, hey, I'll take it, at least it's something.
Works good.
So to say that, we told them to do this, we did not tell them to do this. They took it and changed the plan, but I'm okay with it. I'm just saying, that's not what this committee did. All right,
No,
Councilor
just as a
Jordan,
point
you
of
can answer.
clarification, when I say that we told them, we voted.
Right, okay, you
By
re-voted.
vote, we gave them,
And
we
I
told
voted,
them this,
and I
that,
voted
and
with
that.
you, so.
Right, and it's great, we're talking about roads. We get
Okay.
roads done, let's continue and move on.
All right, last comment from Councilor Lazo.
Just Councilor Joving's point, I'm not faulting anybody. I don't think it's DPW's fault that Gulfwood Road didn't get done. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when you do a common sense approach of in other words, say you take the town manager and you drive him around town. It does not take a rocket scientist to figure out, or even a study, to figure out what should happen next. And yes, we are where we are. We're not gonna stop. We're gonna keep full steam ahead. There's a reason why we earmarked marijuana taxation to roads and sidewalks. There's a reason why we approach it that way. And yes, we do want to get a lot of stuff done. We know the regulations on certain neighborhoods, all the low-income neighborhoods get the Chapter 90 money because they tied into the other grant money. I get that. It's better than getting no money for those areas. But I'm just saying, when you turn around and you look at some of these single-family homeowners in some of these areas of town that are paying top taxes, and you sit that and you look at the road that's in front of them, I'm not disagreeing that what we're doing is wrong. I'm just saying, I was out of the loop, I took myself out of the loop, maybe, I don't know, that I thought that Gulfwood was always still in there. Always still in there.
All right, Councilor Adams.
Yeah, so Councilor Lazo brings up a good point though, and that's something that we kind of thought about last year when we started talking about the marijuana funds and the pavement management plan. One thing, we're hoping and prayer that the next council, and the next council, and the next council continue to move forward, utilizing that 6% that we're receiving retail and cultivation for infrastructure projects. But I don't think we've ever voted on it. And that may be something that we need to take a look at, that'll force a council to rescind that policy down the road. It forces them to have actually a discussion instead of, no, I want that 6% to go over to the airport or,
New
that's maybe
traffic.
something that we need to take a look at. Just to earmark it, make sure it's there. We're all together still, but never know what happens in 4 years.
Well, the only problem is future councilors aren't bound by,
But if you set the policy,
I vote the vote.
but if you do that vote and you set that policy, then it has to go back to them to rescind that policy.
Right.
So they have to have a conversation
all
about
right,
it and citizen
I yield
members.
to your expertise on that. All right,
There's none, but we'll work it all out. Thanks for giving me credit for that though.
all right, Heather,
I would like to give you guys an update on at least the,
Main Street,
no, we'll go back up.
okay,
Seal coating.
all right.
Okay.
Not seal coating, well, seal coating is coming, crack sealing. So I'm gonna pass you out a list of what the crack sealing roads were. And the highlighted list are the ones that were done. And the reason I'm passing you this is, you can see, we are currently at the volume that we put in the contract. Not all of our roads are done. If we use the same square footage based on the quantity. All right, let me back up. The contract for with Indus, which is also used to be known as seal coating, was for crack sealing, fog sealing, and micro surfacing. We are not very happy, not very happy. Their micro surfacing bid is very high. So we are going, as DPW, recommend we don't do micro surfacing. In addition, some of the micro surfacing roads that we planned on doing have now had National Grid work done on them.
Right.
Which means I would probably be more apt to group with them to do a 2-inch mill and overlay over the whole road.
Right, absolutely.
Because they're already gonna have to do it on 8 feet of it, and we have a bid price. So just like we did on Main Street, if I can get some money from them, I'll do a mill and overlay on Moon and those streets, and we'll have a better final product.
That would probably average equal, like what you want to do on your own.
Correct. But with that, we approved up to $500,000 for crack sealing. I do think it is, for this company, I do think the price for their crack sealing is a good price. I think we should tell them we would like them to do additional crack sealing and not do any of the micro surfacing at this time. They will still do their fog sealing, which is still in the price and that hasn't been done yet. The fog sealing is planned for the end of August, the beginning of September. But I would like them to come back and continue crack sealing on the roads that we haven't done. And we can give them we can tell them a volume. We pay by the gallon. So they go out and, some roads are worse than others and some roads are better. So we will go out and say, you still have our list, you know which ones you haven't done and which ones you have done. And we do, we have it highlighted. I have it in green and I copied it wrong and had to highlight it. But we will keep track and we'll ask them to do more. That gets us, and the reason why we crack seal is because crack sealing preserves the roads over a longer period of time. It doesn't allow the water to get underneath the roads and cause the potholes and deteriorate them quicker. So I'd like to keep the roads that are good enough to crack sealed and get them done so that we don't have to worry about them in the future.
Right. Although some of them still have some potholes.
Right, and we'll do spot treatments and things of that nature, and that's when patching is effective, when you can actually go and cut out a patch area and actually patch an area of a road. And that's how okay, we patched it, it's better. So that would be what I would recommend here. Nothing actually has to happen on your end. I just wanted you to know that I want to be upfront with you all. I want to take out that because the price is very high, and I don't think it's worth it. I would rather put our money into crack sealing and get money out of that, and we'll do our fog sealing.
Are we done?
Yep.
Okay.
For now,
I'm gonna
yes.
go with Councilor Adams first.
Just a real quick question. You may have briefed this before with the fog sealing. Are the neighbors notified that they're doing it, and that way they can? I don't know how far this reaches out.
It's not like it's going to be like a fog. It gets sprayed on.
But it's sprayed on, right? But there's my only concern is the elderly and some of the people that have some breathing issues. But does it affect them?
It shouldn't affect them.
Okay. All right.
All right.
That's all. That's it.
Mr. Lazo.
I have a question. I'm gonna go back to Ludlow and their specs here for doing their backfilling and stuff like that. Here it says they use processed gravel for the pavement subbase. Okay, so that's processed gravel, right? On Main Street, Southbridge, did they use the same type of gravel to backfill the water lines there that Ludlow has got here?
Okay.
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth.
Let's wait until.
I just want to say something that this is not processed gravel. This is what they backfilled Main Street with. This is grindings that belong on a driveway and a roadway. This is not what you use to backfill, and that's what they use. This came from the pile down on East Main Street before I came here. This is not right. This is cheap stuff that they ground up. There's concrete, asphalt, there's some rebars in there that they're buried all out Main Street with. Ludlow, in this product that he has here, is processed gravel. I know what processed gravel is. You can call Bond, you could call Hilka, and they'll sell you processed gravel. I buy it from them. It's not this crap.
They have to meet Mass DOT spec. If that is meeting Mass DOT spec, I would be surprised.
Could you find out for me if it did?
I will.
I would appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
I gave
That's
Mr.
all I
Lazo
have.
a little leeway here. We are talking about crack sealing right now. Counselor Dow?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you, Heather. If we spend, we stop what you wanna say expensive, we spend those money on sealing, the crack sealing, and then you're gonna make a deal with the National Grid to do the other side of it. So you're gonna ask for more money, correct? Where are you gonna get that money?
I don't need to ask for more money, I still have,
Because what you have, the $500,000 to do both, I think?
half
So you're gonna use
a
the rest
million
of the
was
money.
just for crack sealing.
Okay.
Our contract for our mill and overlay
Yeah.
is not up to the million that we said we were going to spend. So we could, you guys had said you would like to spend a million. We got better prices on our mill and overlay prices, so that contract isn't as high. So,
So we have the money there, the fund, we don't have
Correct.
to ask for more
No.
to
I
do
think
those.
mill and overlay is a much better idea anyway.
Bundling with the right stuff.
so I will come back to you if I can strike the deal with National Grid. I've already reached out to him, said, I think this project's done, could we do it this in the end of the year? Now granted, I wanna get further along, so do you understand where my
No, I
concept?
know, that's why I'm asking you,
So-
it's a good idea, but just to make
Yep.
sure you have enough fund there.
We've done basically 1 week of mill and overlays. I think you've seen them. They're coming back to do, on the 23rd, they're supposed to come back to do Page Hill and Clements Hill, which are much longer stretches and much bigger road. So after we get through that road, and then the next road they're going to do is Dudley River. So once we get through those, we'll have a better idea where we are standing on quantities. And once I know where we are in quantities, if I want that, at that point, I would say I should know more about moon and snow and talk to them about that, and we'll be able to wrap that potentially in. Because I do think it's better to do them all at once. The other thing that I would like to do when we come back for crack sealing is all of the seams where we met with our pavement, or our mill and overlay, National Grids, I wanna have them sealed. So I will also add those to the sealing list.
All right, thank you. Mr. Spline?
Heather, you said they're doing Dudley River for grinding and paving.
Mill and overlay, yeah.
Are you gonna do that stretch on your side too?
No, it's not, that wasn't in it.
So
I know, well, it's,
there's something I wanna discuss, and tonight's not the night to do it, I'm gonna do it when I'm on the board, but.
we set roads and we set priorities, and I get it, and I know, but.
It has to do with town bylaws.
All right.
But my other question is, I'm all for that crack seal, I am for that. My only thing is it goes back, I ride a bike and everybody knows that. That Black Beauty sand they throw, is there somehow we can talk to them to at least blow it off after? Yeah, I don't think you guys realize how
Slippery it is.
that is on the motorcycle. And these guys just throw it handfuls at it. Whatever sticks, whatever doesn't, it's just all over that road.
I'll speak to 'em.
I mean, just to come back, somebody with a backpack blower and at least get it to the curb. It's very slippery.
Okay,
Would it be better to notify you, like, is there, if I put a list out on this, so you know which streets it's on, or is it doesn't?
You
I
have
know.
so many people that ride, it's,
I know.
that's the-
I just mean, like, I posted on the website, these streets were recently,
Yeah, but
or,
it's- you got so many people from our town, and,
Yeah.
it's tough, the Eagles clubs have their rides, if it happens to be on one of those roads.
all right, well, I appreciate the update on that situation. Do you want to give us an update on, I'm sorry, Counselor
One
Steve?
quick thing. I noticed that your list actually doesn't include Lebanon Hill, and it was done.
Lebanon Hill was done because of the fact that I think it's on the, Matt actually talks about that.
It was cracked.
It's because it's on a fog seal list.
Was it?
Yes, it's on the fog seal list, so they have to be crack sealed before they're fog sealed.
Oh, okay. And the other question I had is, I noticed, I think I emailed you about this, is that I noticed when we were driving down, I think it was Elm Street, and they were doing some of the crack sealing, and I noticed that we could smell it, and it made me wonder if there's any any regulations about them having to wear masks, or I don't mean like COVID style masks, I mean like actual decent protective masks. So I can't imagine that it's too healthy for them to be yelling.
But that is under their own health and safety protocols, not ours.
Oh, I understand that. I
So,
understand
that they have to follow their own health and safety protocols, and I'll be honest, I've worked in hazardous waste field for a very long time before I was ever here. That was my first job. The levels, when you're outside in an open air like that, you very rarely ever get to the levels that you dictate needing to have any type of respirator mask on. And they wouldn't be using a product that they would need to do that. They would readjust the product before it ever happens, because you can't have, I mean, I worked in the stuff that was like a pure spill.
Yeah.
And until you got to a certain concentration, you didn't even need it.
Okay.
So they would re-engineer the product before they ever did that.
So if no one else has anything else on that, could you just give us a quick update on Main Street, where we're at with that? They're starting to pave it now, is that what you said?
So let me back up. So what they have been doing the last couple of weeks is putting in the lights on Main Street, and that really had to, they couldn't do the additional water main work at the same time as they were installing the lights, because of the way, they couldn't work in the same area at the same time, and they didn't want to have that many, details and road closures to get people around. It would have been too disruptive. So they haven't done any of the additional water lane work that we've already approved them to do. What we had to also approve them to do was that leveling course. What they did today was a leveling course, because we asked them that we didn't want to live with that road being a bumpy mess for the next 2 months, so they did the leveling course. That is what is done today, the leveling course. What they'll be coming out next, now I believe all the lights are done, other than whatever tweaks we might need to make. I know there are a couple posts that might need to be adjusted, or where the light fixture actually is, but so that will happen. Now that the lights are done, except for the ones that I'm gonna ask them to look and see if they can move them out from in back of a telephone pole, they will come back and finish
I know that.
pouring,
On the pole. I missed it.
pouring the sidewalks
else.
and starting to reinstall the new fire lines. Those things have to happen. We haven't approved their change order for the downtown section yet. The engineer's on vacation this week. I expect to see that probably early next week. So we'll have to come back to the council, because we had all discussed taking out from Goddard to Elm, approximately, the additional concrete that's underneath that section of road.
Okay.
Okay? And then, once all of those things are done, we want that to settle as long as possible, and then we will do the final paving.
When do you think the final paving is gonna happen?
October.
They can have diagonal parking.
Councilor Daniel?
No.
Councilor Adams?
I'm kidding. I interrupt every time.
What was
Yeah, I
that?
do have a question.
You used to be that way.
Yeah, that was brought up yesterday about the lights. I tried to explain it the best I could. I remember the lights being half on, half off, and stuff like that. So there's a point in time during the day or evening that one side of the lights is turned off.
Correct.
Can you explain it again? Because I don't know if I explained it properly, and I know.
You mean
some-
the decorative street lights?
Yes.
So, I don't know that I can explain it properly. One side stays on using photo eyes all night.
Okay.
The other side has photo eyes, so they come on when it gets dark enough, but it's also on a timer and gets turned off. You're gonna ask me why? I don't know. I believe it was done as a cost-saving method previously, because they weren't LEDs. If you tell me that you want both sides on, I really don't have a problem with it. It will make the cost go up probably some, obviously, because now I believe it turns off somewhere around midnight. And
It does, and it turns on later on, like at dawn.
Yeah,
It's-
I'm sure it was done on some type of cost-saving method, but now we have changed them over to LEDs, and they are a lot cheaper than they used to be, because they used to be.
Remove the timer.
If you tell me to remove the timer, I'll remove the timer.
Remove the
I would
It's
think
nice
it'd
to
be
know
a,
that the ones in front of Dunkin' Donuts are working now, that's all it is.
to me, it's a safety issue, really.
They
It
forgot
should
to
be
put the wires in the
All this
ground.
money was spent on Main Street, the beautiful road, sidewalk,
fix it.
and then, just let it light up.
Right.
Let it light up.
All right,
We
Councilor
did on Main
Steves?
Street back way back.
Hold
I
on,
was
Councilor
thinking
Steves?
I was thinking if it is a cost saving issue, and that really matters at this point with the LEDs going on, I don't understand why they would do it all on one side and not alternate.
Because you can't alternate. The timer is on, so the way they're powered is like, this stretch is powered together. So it's not, you're not putting a timer on every light. It's on a whole series of lights.
So I would think that it would be a safety issue, because I have residents call me up and tell me they walk down there at night and it's so dark, they don't feel safe down there. So, but that's something I guess the council is gonna have.
So what do we need to remove the timer, put it on the agenda?
We should probably talk with the town manager
Yeah,
first and have a conversation.
Let me find out how long they're off, and then see if I can do some calculations of an estimate of how much additional money we're talking. Because it is every night. It does add up. You got to realize we sit there, but you think it's basically going to double the cost of whatever we paid for the decorative streetlights.
We're paying money on some pole that doesn't work, so light them up.
But that. Okay.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions? Councilor Catrona?
Take Mr. Chair, through you to Heather. Heather, we spoke at the council meeting about a month ago about the left turn from Main to Elm. The turn signal that used to be there, and you said that you're trying to get traffic adjusted to using the side roads.
Well, and I would say I have looked at that signal multiple times. I come to work every morning at multiple different times. I turn left onto Central Street every morning, so I look at that one every morning. It's around 7 o'clock. I never see anybody waiting there. I looked at 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't see anybody waiting there. I had 5 people in back of me trying to turn left onto Central Street the other day. And I went, ooh, I wonder if they're all gonna get through. Every single one of us got through without ever having to wait and cycle at the light.
Try it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, but if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that is the critical time, I will come and stand here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been up here around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I haven't seen it. But that's what I'm saying. Tell me what time everybody's concerned about, because I'm not seeing it. I've come up at lunchtime, I don't see it. I've come up at other times.
All right.
If I can continue, just what I see is taking that left from Main to Elm. If you want to stay there all day, that you could possibly do that. You see the tractor trailers that come back and forth on that road. I've been behind them on multiple occasions. I know they're coming possibly back and forth to Hyde. I'm not sure where they're going. People utilize that road frequently. When you use the side roads, you have kids, school buses. It's an inconvenience and a safety hazard, is my belief, for the town. I don't know who designed it. I know we approved the contract for, this council did, for the Main Street, but all these change orders that are coming through for the curb, for losing the parking spaces, the curb bump outs.
It's not a change order, that was part of the design.
It was, so to lose the parking spaces was part of the original design that the council approved? Okay, didn't see that. If I can move on, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
A couple more things. You spoke of Dudley River Road. I'm going to speak of Worcester Street as well. And then get back on Main Street. When a utility works on any utilities in this town, when I drive Worcester Street now, it's a mess.
Yeah.
Who oversees them to make sure that they return the road back to the taxpayers of Southbridge in the manner that it should be? Because driving down Worcester Street, and I have been for the last couple of weeks, shouldn't be the way it is. And Dudley River Road's the same way. So who oversees them?
Yes, he does everything you want.
Is what I'm asking.
Dudley River Road doesn't have any.
On the side, it's dug up.
I guess I'm gonna have to go back and look at it.
My question is, have you driven Worcester Street?
Worcester Street is not completed by National Grid yet. It's still an active construction zone. When they complete the road, they have to do a mill and overlay to my standards. And when they do that, it usually is very good when they are done. It's not done yet. They haven't done any of their cross trenches. It's not completed yet. That is one of the roads that we're going to ask to go with them to mill it and overlay the whole area.
Yeah.
So it's not completed yet.
Okay, thank you. If I can continue to Citizen Member Lazo's point earlier, who oversees the Main Street project to see if Lynch...
Main Street is being overseen by VHB.
If they're utilizing the incorrect material and trying to cut a corner or possibly save money, Who from the town, though, oversees that project? Or do we just take VHB's word for it and say,
No, I mean,
yeah,
I've been
they're
out
doing
there
a good
multiple
job?
times and I haven't seen any issues. I didn't see that material myself. VHB is the engineer on the job that's certifying it and reviewing all the all the bid specs and reviewing the bid. They have to submit material information, like just at any other job. That's what we pay them to do. They review it. They're signing off on that it's being done.
They can put anything on paper, Heather, we both know that, but it's
Well,
what's actually
it's-
being put in the ground.
And like I said, I have been there. The material that I've seen go in the ground has looked fine when I've been there. I have been on site multiple times.
I've seen it.
And the water department oversees every stick of ground. They're in there many hours a day overseeing when the water main was being put in.
Okay, thank you. If I can continue. So who does the town, or as a taxpayer, as a citizen, need to express the concern for the light on Main to Elm?
You expressed it to me already, and we are already taking it under advisement, but the project is not complete. If it really is an issue and the council really thinks it's an issue that left turn signal needs to go back, then we can look at putting it back. We will have to change the lighting arrangement. We can't just put another light up there. It will have to be a change order. It will have to be different new lights, but we'll have to do it that way. That's what we want, and that's what we want. I would say I would wait until the project is further on and further completed until more evaluation can be done when the road is paved and everything is operating the way it should be. Until it's evaluated.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's good. Counselor, Mr.
Okay,
Lazo.
getting back to the material I brought here tonight, those are grindings. Lynch has their own asphalt company, okay, and they do their grindings. That's cheap stuff to buy. You buy processed gravel, it's more expensive and it's a better product. That's all I'm trying to say with this situation here. And you said you could possibly get me some sort of documentation to see if that's good enough to bury it.
Well, they had to meet the specifications that are on our plans and whatever was put in there for material on our plans. Ludlow, that's a different contract. So it could have been a different contract of that one required processed gravel. This one might have, it's whatever the Mass DOT item it has to meet because it's a Mass DOT.
Could you get me that, a document on that?
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
I mean, I will show you
Yeah.
what their item was
Okay.
selected to be here, and I will
I
ask
dug
them.
that out of there. I mean, I didn't bring this somewhere. It came
No,
from my
I
file.
agree. I understand what you're saying, and I will go look at their pile myself, and I will actually ask the question of them tomorrow. Does
I
this
appreciate
meeting that
that. I
item?
appreciate that. And the other thing is, the Boston Gas, you said they do an excellent job of patching. Well, we already brought this situation up to you on Dresser Street. That patch, they did that line and then they repaved the whole road, is cracking in that area there. And you said they were just gonna seal crack it, right? What if it keeps going down? What are you gonna do with that?
It's already up for the 3-year moratorium is our biggest problem there.
Oh, they're already gone 3 years past that? So we're stuck with it? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Counselor.
I just think you're gonna see on that material, Steve, when the state or the DOT puts a stamp on a material, I know the state of Massachusetts does a lot of recycling, you know, the grindings and the asphalt, and, you know, I'm not sure if that's the proper material to put around a water line, but for myself, I think you're gonna be surprised when you check that pile
It probably
and you
meets the
check
spec.
that spec, that you might have come up with a recyclable material that is acceptable to the Mass DOT. That's my
Well, that's what I want to know.
prediction.
I don't know that, so I'm asking the question.
Yep.
Right, I think that's what's gonna end up.
I mean, when, I know that the bylaws state that if we were to do a main artery or something, a local contractor has to use flowable fill. Okay, and you can't use it on gas lines, I know that. But, so if I was to dig on Main Street or any major artery as a
Because
private
we're only,
contractor.
and on all the cross stretches, they did use flowable fill.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying, I know that, I understand that part.
But on the
I'm
baseline
questioning-
trench, we part of the design, it would have been too expensive to use.
I'm just questioning, and I'd like to know. That's
All right.
Thank you.
So let's move on then to our last agenda item, discussion of creating a dog park in Southbridge. I put this on the agenda, this is something that Councilor Jovan asked me to put on the agenda, and that's why I put it. I think it's a good idea. I don't really know where we could put a dog park. I've looked at our list of fields and parks, about the only area that I can think of that would be a good place for a dog park is Charlton Street Recreation Area, but I'm open for, if anybody else has any suggestions, Councilor Lazo.
The dog park idea came up, Jack, I want to say it was 6 years ago. John Dufresne brought it forward, and they were going to put it between Henry Street Recreation and the Capillo Park. Back then.
Right.
And I don't even know what's up there, I gotta be honest with you, I don't know if that's even a feasible, park.
Right.
But Charlton Street is utilized basically for youth soccer and Pop Warner. I know that I'm involved with DPW and one of the DPW workers, we're gonna be putting the foundation in for the kennel. Well, I wasn't always a big fan of putting a kennel in a recreation area with the dogs. But I guess there were plans that were done by Chief Charette, and now I spoke to the chief, and I guess the dog kennel's going down there. And I know that I'm gonna be one of the guys that are gonna be donating foundation to the dog kennel, and we got some volunteers on DPW are gonna be doing the digging, and some people are gonna be working on the foundation, so, it'll be, all the groundwork can get completed.
So
Because
then you
right now
don't
it
think
seems
that's
to
a
be
good
stalled.
place then? Charlton
Well,
Street
we can't legally put a dog park. I know,
in Charlton Street area?
you can't put it next to the kennel.
Okay.
I thought the kennel belonged
There's a
down
regulation that
there.
says you can't. I thought it was perfect. I'm like, you got the kennel here, we'll put the dog park here too, and they're like, no, you can't do
They may
that.
fill the
Like,
kennel.
what?
People just drop off
What?
dogs.
Yeah.
Councilor Lazo, all right, now.
Who's gonna clean? Who's gonna maintain? Who's gonna maintain?
Joe, you can do that.
I know different towns have a very hard time to keep cleaning the poop because people, they're very disrespectful. I think we're gonna open a can of worm on us by doing that part.
Well, we do.
I have two dogs. I'm dog lover. I love dogs, but I don't see it's right. Let's focus on park the kids they need, not the dog right now.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Hold on, Mr. Councilor Petrona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is an excellent idea, and for the reason, I don't know if anybody has had the time, if you have the time, make time to visit Auburn. They just had a grand opening for their dog park. It's absolutely beautiful. And the residents there have to pick up, it's monitored by cameras. I don't know if the police department really monitors it, but there's probably a dozen cameras there, night and day. It's open 24 hours a day. I have to say it's a beautiful park. So I think to put this in the town of Southbridge is a great idea. To speak to something Councilor Lazo said earlier, and it sounds like the plans are already done, to put a dog kennel, I guess I don't know why we wouldn't put it down by the water treatment, the sewage treatment plant maybe, somewhere down there.
The person that donated the money said it couldn't be there.
Okay.
I just don't know how you put dogs in a rec area.
Yeah, that was my question. I don't
Terrible
know
idea.
how it, was that a vote of the council?
I don't remember how, I know that I was asked to look at multiple different locations to potentially look at, to put it, which the wastewater treatment plant was my favorite too, but we looked at looking it up at the airport even, in the back of the airport. And the reason that this one ended up being selected is it's reutilizing a building that was being underutilized, and that brought the cost down into an area that could be affordable. My understanding right now is the original plan, and originally we were hoping to have this project started this fall with Bay Path, and I don't believe Bay Path is going to be able to start the project, so we're not sure where it's happening.
So we can revisit this to move it to the school plan?
No, because the plans incorporate
you
The
know,
plans incorporate that building as part of it, so you would have to design all new plans.
If I could just continue with that, and I was gonna ask
Allow Councilor
Chairman,
Patrol to finish.
Councilor Jovan now, if any time during council in the past, did the council vote on this, do you recall?
I think, to be honest with you, through the chair, I believe we did vote on it, we
Okay.
have to research it.
We did
However, the
because it
chief has spent an enormous amount of time with stamp drawings and plans to go there. They have it designed so that it'll have minimal impact on the recreation area. That the kennels would go to the back of the building, not to the school side. They would make sure that they had plans in place to make sure that when kids were outside, the dogs would either be inside, because it's gonna be inside
That was my
kennels and all
concern,
that.
okay.
Jeff, just point of clarification, because I went and laid out the foundation. It's coming off the front of the building towards the school and towards the gazebo.
Unless that changed, yeah.
And to me, I thought if it was on the back side of the building, I go,
Originally,
that wouldn't be bad, because you wouldn't see the kennel.
But perhaps, Mr. Chairman, if we could, let's have the chief come in and give us an update on it, because there have been several changes. Because the town manager informed me the other day when we were talking about this, that Bay Path, who had committed to this project 2 years ago, backed out of the project. And it's changed. Superintendent LaFleche and business manager Yakubuchi were both very eager on this. I know we're off topic with the dog park, but so that's why I would say to bring it up to another agenda item.
I'd like to
have them
revisit that.
updated.
All right.
However, when it comes to the dog park, if I may, Mr.
Sure,
Chairman,
go right ahead.
I brought this through because my constituents, to quote a former counselor, may rest in peace.
McCann?
Right, approached me, my son. Okay, he lived in the city of Seattle, and they had dog parks in the city. You know, he'd walk up to the dog park, the dog wouldn't be able to run around. It was self-policed, it wasn't a messy area. I walked up there, and, you know, you're in the city and all that, so people police it themselves. So the concept is, should we look to these in the town so that people do have an area that they can bring their dogs to recreate? You drive on the highway, I drove cross-country, there's dog parks in pretty much in all the pilot gas stations where you can have your dog go in and they have areas for you to clean up and all that. So it's a good idea, perhaps maybe let's ask some people in town to step up to talk and how do we develop it, what areas they may consider to be in. We just throw it out there. It's you know, it doesn't mean the council has to tackle this. Let's ask for some citizens. If you really want to have a dog park in town, get some citizens to the table to talk to us and become part of a plan. Where, you know, how would it look like? And then reach out to Ms. Dean, who has been very, very good at bringing us grants and grant opportunities, to say, hey, is there park grants out there? Is there something or other? So we throw it on the table as an idea, and just see where it goes.
We should take time and visit Auburn.
Sounds good.
Inside.
Councilor Steves, did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that the town, a lot of the towns that have gone through this have had citizens come up with as friends of the whatever dog park project. And they often raise a significant sum of the money. Sometimes the town kicked in a little bit, but it's usually a lot of private money. And there's also a big, there's an organization out there who specifically gives grants for dog parks, whose name I am drawing a blank on at the moment.
The town manager sent that to you.
But
You're right.
But
don't remember.
Auburn did
I'll
it,
send it to
Oxford
you.
got it from them.
Yep, I
Several
forgot
other
about
towns
that.
did. I forgot what the name was, but.
Right. Okay. Well,
So how's the park dog? Who's liable if those dogs bit somebody or they fight or? I mean, isn't it the town have responsibility, liability when we do
I don't know how that
Then you
works.
I don't
get Council Adam.
Councilor Adams?
Sorry, my arm's getting tired. Okay. Real quick, I a lot of constituents, same thing about the dog park, which I don't think is a bad idea, but what I would recommend, it besides Ms. Dean with some grants and stuff like that, get a hold of the rec department now that we have a part-timer, and have him, if we're serious about this, have him start doing some research himself on that, especially with the setting up a committee of parents and families or whatever it may be to put something together, and then they can answer those, get the research and answer those questions you have is what's the insurance costs, what types of dogs are allowed in and out, and what times for little ones and big ones and all that kind of stuff, because it's a lot more than just, it's pretty today, but it could be nasty in about a month.
Thank you.
The John Dufresne kid had all those answers and presented it to the council. It was impressive. but it just never came to be.
Is he still around? He's still around?
No, I think he moved,
Make sure
he moved out of the state.
the dog park added 2 more employees for the DPW.
All right, thank you very much. That was
He'll get his
a good
job.
conversation. I'll reach out to the rec committee. Did you have something? No. All right. All right, I'll accept a motion to adjourn
I'll
then.
make that motion.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.